Help.
Engaged.
Greetings everyone. In this episode, we will be taking a look at what Fallout 4 looks like at maximum graphics settings on the PC. So let's get right to it and take a look at some gameplay. This game uses the same engine as Skyrim, meaning our character can sprint, which is a nice improvement over previous Fallout games. Sprinting, however, uses up action points, as can be seen by the rapidly depleting action bar in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. It starts to fill up again once you stop, which means you should not sprint into a fight, especially if you plan on using VATS during combat. I prefer the camera to be zoomed out a little. So, the graphics. They seem okay, don't they? This puddle, for example, has a nice reflective quality. And that's the thing about this game. That overall, the graphics are fine. In fact, in some places, the scenery can be downright beautiful. The main things that let this game down, in terms of graphics, are some of the textures. I will show some examples once we get into the nearby town, since textures on buildings are the main culprits. As you may have seen, you can use hotkeys to equip various items, including clothes. I switched to this dress, and now we'll switch back to the Vault Dweller's outfit. I should point out that there seems a slight delay when switching clothes via the hotkeys, but that's only happening because I am recording this footage via a program called FRAPs, which can place an additional demand on resources, hence the delay. When not recording, the change of clothes is almost immediate. And what do we have here in the menu? Yes, the option to quick save. That option has always been available on the PC versions of these games, but not necessarily if you are using a controller, which I almost always do. For example, in Fallout New Vegas, you could quick save and quick load if you were using the keyboard and mouse, but as soon as the controller was detected and enabled, keyboard controls stopped working, including the option to quick save and quick load. Luckily, in this game, they included the quick save function, even while using a controller, for which I am glad. Too bad the quick load function wasn't included, because that would have made things even better. Perhaps if someone from Bethesda is watching, they might patch it in? Doesn't hurt to ask, does it? So here are the textures that, in my opinion, let the game down. When you zoom in on them, you can see that they are not of a very high resolution. In fact, some areas even look blurry. And as far as I'm concerned, that is unacceptable in a latest AAA game. I understand that this is an open-world game, but they could definitely have done a better job than this. Surely they will make higher resolution textures available to download freely a little later on. Similar to what they did for Skyrim. Let's hope so. But apart from these low-res textures, the graphics look pretty good, in my opinion. Some say that it's all about the gameplay, which is true, to a certain extent, but I also like to have top-notch graphics as well, whenever possible. Why else would I spend thousands of pounds on PC gaming?
Head over there.
Anyway, let's have a look at some of the interactions we can do with our current companion, Dog Meat.
How you doing, buddy? Hey, boy. You know any tricks? Hey. Wait there. Come on.
The voice actress is Courtney Taylor, who also voiced Ada Wong in Resident Evil 6, amongst other places. Remember this?
Oh, that was no fun.
Of course, you would only remember that if you had actually done that taunt while playing Resident Evil 6 Mercenaries, or saw a video like mine. Anyway, now let's take a look at the display settings we can change from inside the game. As you can see, you can't change much from here, not even the resolution. To change things like that, you have to do it from the game launcher. In other words, before you even start the game. From the launcher, if you go into Options, you can adjust every single setting and these are the settings I am using for this video. Basically, everything is maxed. Before we talk about frames per second, let's take a quick look at the Pip-Boy. Everything is more or less the same. One thing I always hated about the Fallout games was the maps. They were just too vague, especially in indoor areas, with multiple levels. Although they are a little clearer, in this game, there is still a lot of room for improvement. As in previous games, once you discover a location, you can fast travel there. So let's pay a quick visit to Vault 111, in order to see what the interiors in this game look like. Actually, since we were talking about room for improvement, I wanted to mention something that kinda disappointed me about this game, and that's the movement. It is essentially the same as Oblivion, a 9-year-old game. One thing I would have liked to have seen is the ability to climb up onto objects. They added the ability to sprint, so why not improve the platforming a little? They should have taken a page out of Dying Light's, or more accurately, Mirror's Edge's book. I mean, look at that, it's almost like the character does not even have arms. Makes the game seem dated, which is not a good impression to get from a brand new game. Don't get me wrong, I love this game already, but annoying things like that take away from the experience. Especially when I consider the fact that I will probably be playing this game for hundreds of hours over the course of the next few years, which makes it all the more annoying. Yes, I play games like these multiple times. Especially if there is an option to play as a totally different character, like in Oblivion and Dragon Age. So here we are, in Vault 111. And how the frack did Dogmeat get here already? Like most companions in modern-day games, he also seems to have the ability to teleport. But then again, I did ask him if he knew any tricks earlier on, and clearly, unexplained teleportation must be one of them.
Everyone's dead.
Actually, it is quite boring down here, so let's get out of here. So, the FPS, or frames per second, in this game, are pretty decent. Indoor areas are a solid 60 FPS, and outdoors, I get mostly 45 FPS. But I don't really care about frames per second that much, because it is just an average value. What I look for is how smooth the game plays. Some people insist on a minimum of 60 FPS, but what they fail to realize is that sometimes, even if they are getting 60 FPS, the gameplay might not be smooth. This is due to spikes in the frame time. Frame time is a measure of time between two consecutive frames. A spike in the frame time means that one frame took too long to render, and this could be for a number of reasons. The end result, if you get too many spikes, is that the gameplay will not be smooth. So even if the FPS is at 60, the gameplay will not be smooth. So, I don't get hung up over the frames per second, so long as my gameplay experience is smooth. And for this game, it is smooth. Google spikes in frame time for more details. Here is a setting that might eat up your frame rates. It's called God Rays Quality. Even though the game told me my settings were at ultra, when I went into the individual menus, I noticed that the setting was still set to high. But don't worry, the footage you are seeing is with this setting at ultra, because I changed it as soon as I noticed, which luckily, was before I recorded this footage. I can report though, that I didn't notice a dip in the frame rate at all. But still, I have to wonder why this setting was not at ultra too, like all the other settings. If anyone knows, please comment below. Anyway, I am assuming that one aspect of the God rays effect is to do with sun rays coming out of the sky. And I have to say, they look quite spectacular here. Another point I feel I should make about the graphics is to do with anti-aliasing. Normally, I don't care for it, because it just seems to eat up the frame rate, and you still get a lot of jaggies. But when I switched it on in this game, it made a huge difference. This is the setting I am talking about. TAA, or temporal anti-aliasing. If your GPU can handle it, I would definitely recommend it be switched on. Some final points about the graphics. I noticed that after several hours of playing, the frame rate did start to go down. In some places, it was as low as 25, but mostly stayed at 32. Luckily, it was still smooth, so I had no complaints. I also got an occasional black screen for a couple of seconds, which seemed to increase in frequency the longer the game was on. But restarting the game seems to get rid of these issues. My problems seem quite minor, compared to what some people are experiencing, for example, not even being able to start the game. Looking at the Steam forums, there's quite a few people who have had severe problems with running this game. So bear that in mind, if you are thinking of getting this game on the PC. Anyway, as far as actually playing the game itself is concerned, so far, I am loving it. Even if you have never played the previous Fallout games, I would still highly recommend this game to you. And that concludes this video. Please comment, thumbs up and subscribe, if you found this video helpful. This is Blade, signing off, and returning to the immersive world of Fallout 4. Goodbye.